To all of my community members, I would like to introduce a very, very special guest who is none other than Prashant Trivedi by himself, the divine embodiment. It's just like that. For me, like definitely nothing startles me more other than the nakshatras, other than Rahu and Ketu. Even in my own chart, Rahu and Ketu are very strong. And where I got the authentic knowledge, credible knowledge, was from the books of Prashant Trivedi. I still remember at the time when I started reading his book, I was so mesmerized. And then I started doing a research on him. And when I first time saw his photograph, it's like, okay, I got a rock star of astrology. That was my very first impression. And I still, whenever I go to any bookshop, like even in Bharti Vidya Bhavan, I have seen that happening so many times. Like someone will walk in and they will ask, can you recommend me any good book on Nakshatra? Oh, then the bookseller will say, oh, just give him Prashant Trivedi. It's the best. After that, you don't need to read anything. So that's the kind of reputation, Prashant, you have around this, because if it will not be an exaggeration to say that nakshatras are like the heartbeat of the zodiac. And the way you have gotten into the depth of explaining the nitty-gritty of the nakshatras, of Rahu and Ketu, of Sun. So I'm so honored to have you. It's like my role model, my hero right now in front of me. I'm so fascinated, and it's all up to you first. Now, if you want to share
Y-
anything.
Yes, Nipun, that's too much of praise. I mean, I don't think they deserve that much praise, but just long time ago, those books were written, in the beginning of the 21st century. Uh, I mean, if they helped people and like gave a more clearer understanding of Vedic Jyotish, you know, so that was the aim that they should make it more technical, make it more clear, make it more tangible for people, the science. So that was the actual aim and goal. So it's good, like it affected people in that way, that they took this science in that direction from that point on, some people at least. So yeah,
Yes, Prashant. Because Prashant,
yeah,
like if I were to ask you, like what actually, okay, we'll take like one subject at a time. So even if you will
yes.
talk about Rahu and Ketu, so what intrigued you towards Rahu and Ketu? Like it was like you felt that not much work, because the traditional Vedic astrologers have given a very bad rep to them. So was that the driving factor, or you thought that okay, I have some more findings, insights which I want to bring out in the world?
Okay, okay. So it's a multiple factors as always, but the main factor was this. The seven grahas, main grahas, on which there are 7 days of the week, right? 7 days of the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. All of those are seven main grahas. Now, they're well set. Those grahas are well set. Their roles are well set. Okay. Everything is well set, like, okay, sun, father, moon, mother, this thing, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, all of them have very well set roles, including Saturn, everybody. Everyone understands the roles of those seven. And in society also, you can see the roles very clearly, clearly marked. Now, that is fine for the earthly social matrix,
Yes.
you know, that. But what about people who want to get out of the cycle of birth and death? What about people who want to get out of the matrix? What are the grahas for those?
Yes.
You know, and these seven are not for that, right? So because they have very fixed roles in society. So then we come to the two, Rahu and Ketu, which are the outsiders, the outliers, the
Yes.
ones who are interested in things beyond earthly position, earthly society, and something more than that. Now, if you look at the Vedic cosmology, okay, then we have different lokas, like 14 lokas. We have all these things which are beyond terra, earth, terrestrial, beyond, other realms of existence. Now, that topic, you know, like interest in that or that thing, there has to be something for that. What can give interest there? So then Rahu Ketu came into picture again because the answers were not in the seven grahas, which were, to run the things of the world. Sun comes out, that's when the, you know, things will happen on earth. Yeah, moon is used for the like seed fertility, and how the seeds, that thing, get germinate at night, And so there are different things which those grahas are for, you know. But this thing of getting out of the cycle of birth and death, that was the main thing. Like it was my own interest, so and Rahu Ketu were the ones which fit in to that.
Yes.
So for me, they were like about knowledge and liberation, knowledge, Rahu and Ketu liberation. So it was the kind of topics I was interested in. Okay. And they matched what they were about. Okay. And the bad rap thing, which obviously you talked about, was there already. And obviously one wants to correct that. A correction is required of that, like just fear mongering, general fear mongering about them had to be corrected. But that was just, that happened automatically. Once you delve into that, you realize that these are the interesting points. These are the points which will take you beyond like a very like narrow, shallow level of thinking, perception, existing. So that was like fun for me. It was right down my alley. It was in my ballpark. So those things met, and that's how the Rao Ketu thing happened. Yes.
Happened. And
Yeah.
Prashant, you is like adhering and following such a strict Vedic principles and living
Yes.
amongst the Westerners, living in the West. So how your journey has been so far? Like because people find it very difficult, right?
I mean, again, that comes down to different things. Like once you understand that in the path of knowledge and liberation, okay, there are certain disciplines, okay, and once you really, really understand internally that those disciplines are required, okay, and they are necessary, then you don't need an external force. No external force can actually sway you from that, because your understanding is so clear, the clarity is there, then it doesn't matter what is the external environment and how it can't affect you in that kind of way. So that's where the knowledge aspect is very important. It has to be, the clarity has to be there. And when the knowledge aspect has a fuzziness, or smokiness, or the lack of clarity, that's where the things go, that thing's strange. And so that's exactly the point for that. Like, so that's why I find that Saturn is the starting point for Rahu and Ketu. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Saturn is the last and Saturn is the ground discipline. Okay. And so there has to be basic Saturn discipline there before you go into Rahu. I think if you go into Rahu and Ketu without the Saturn backbone, you are in trouble. Like it's, so that's where I find the Saturn is the bedrock, the foundation, basically. It's that of going into Rahu Ketu. I'm not saying other grahas have to be there. Obviously, everything has to be in its place, but Saturn especially, because that's where a lot of people struggle actually going into those domains. So
And Prashant, one more thing, because because I have strong interest in reading holy scriptures, different depiction
yes,
of shastras by different Vedic scholars. So I have read lot many of the good books on astrology, on different Vedic philosophies written by people with your last surname, Trivedi. So I just want to know a little bit about your upbringing. What kind of, and like, were you being raised in such a strict Vedic astrology environment influence? Just in brief, I want to know two things
no,
about, first about your upbringing, how astrology was blended in your upbringing, and the role of music in your life. Two questions.
like my upbringing is like in normal schools. In India we call them Kendriya Vidyalayas, the
Wow.
education.
Nice,
Yes,
nice.
yes, it's called Central School, Kendriya
Yeah, even
Vidyalaya.
I'm also from a Kendra Vidyalaya.
Okay, you are there, so you know what the education.
Yeah, my
It,
father was in government job, yes.
okay, so my education was that. Okay, so like interest in Vedic texts, I had, that is my own personal thing. It was not the product of my surrounding or situation or circumstance,
Okay.
because it was a Air Force. surrounding, which is more modern Western
Yes.
circumstance. And the interest in Vedic texts or the stories or the Puranas, that was my own initiative.
Yes.
So, and because that intrigued me, and that was different from what we were being taught at school.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the model, whatever heliocentric model,
Yes.
and the nature of the universe
Yes.
in the school was different from the nature of the universe in the Vedic texts, right?
Thanks. Yes.
So
Yes.
now you have an option. Which one do you go
So
for?
you're also
When
from a past graduated from one of the best school, engineering school in India, like engineering college in
yes,
India. You're already proven a best brain.
I mean, I'm that was just a like if you don't go into the technology field in today's age,
Okay.
and then if you say something, if you make any remark on it, okay, people will say that, oh, but you're not done it, you're not been there, you don't know anything about it, so you're not in any position to make
Yes.
any remark about it. So my thing was that I wanted to go into science and technology to the point where I can make a remark on it, like, where it's not. So when I went to IIT, it was again, this part was there that you have to know what's going on, like, exactly in the modern world, and which is like industrial revolution, like from 18th century onwards, 17th, 18th century onwards, like to now, we have been last 100 years in the industrial revolution. So to overlook that, completely would be a fallacy, like would be a mistake. I mean, you can't do that. You have to go in that direction and try and find out what is the realm and the scope of it and everything. So that was part of that journey, because if you just go through the Vedic, and even you go in Vedic texts, right? You find technology, right? They had Vimanas, they had all kinds of things, they had different things, so it's not like they were anti-tech in Vedic, you know. So for me, there was no, let's say, like conflict between tech and Vedic, which people have created. So I wanted to resolve that, those two worlds, which seem quite separate, but they are actually the same. Yes.
Prash, how
Yes.
about your journey with the music? What role music plays in your life?
Okay. Now, in the Vedic thing, right? Sound is a very big thing, right? If you even the Ved Ucharan, which happens, okay, it's like a sonic, let's say, code. It's like a
Yes.
sonic wave, which is being
Yes.
created by those mantra be, being spoken. Okay, being like in Sanskrit, the term is ucharan. Okay,
Yes.
so
Okay.
that ucharan of those mantras happening is us creating a sonic wave.
Yeah.
Okay, in that, so there are sounds which are in a particular order, creating a particular energy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, right. That's what's going on, right? So now that is same as music. You have
Yes.
certain sonic frequencies coming one after the other, right? In a basic level. So first, what intrigued me was sound, then quality of sound, and the ways you can produce sound. Now we used to have instruments before which are like acoustic instruments. They're just metal strings and and things like that, on Veena and everything. Then came electricity, right? Now electricity is closer to ether, more
Yeah.
closer to etheric energy, which gave uh, the ability through electric instruments like electric guitar to produce a wide variety of sounds which are not possible with acoustic
Yes.
instruments. So then it was about quality of tone, quality of sound. Then how does that sound uh, affect human beings, affect the elements, you know? And this is so for me, music was like a sound journey, basically, including the technology of now, basically. So best what we can do with whatever is available. Now, whatever is the best technology for producing sound, you know, I wanted to use for doing what I called my sound and light experiments, basically, which means like, okay, in nature, if you play something, and a particular kind of sound, and if a rainbow happens, then
Wow.
that sound has something to do with the air getting fractal enough
Yes.
for that. Or if you're playing near ocean, sea, you know, then sound has to be like ocean and sea. So the sound will mix with what the visual is. Okay. And in the Vedic thing, we understand very clearly that everything is made out of sound.
Yes.
Okay. Like the Brahma did the Ved through which Brahmand was created, right? Like the sonic
Yes.
codes. Now, so if everything is created by sound, then there has to be an efficacy of that. And there has to be something to do with music and everything which connects to that, like how music affects human emotions, yeah, mind and emotions. In the same way, it should be able to affect nature, you know. And like obviously we have a lot of music on earth right now which affects human emotions in different ways, makes you happy, sad, all these kind of things,
Yes.
there
Yes.
are those things already exist. And but I wanted to create something which is beyond that, happy, making humans happy or sad, or it is like making them go into a different frequency which will make them uh, like go ask questions about the matrix and try to get out of the matrix and try to connect to higher realms of existence, which humans have no idea of, like when they're living on earth, right?
Yes.
They can't see Swarg or Govardhaka or Swarglok. They don't have
Yes.
direct access to that, but you can give a glimpse of that in sonic form out here, so that people know, yeah, there must be something because this is not of the earth. This sound, this feeling, this emotion, this vibe is not of here, must be of somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay. So, so giving a glimpse and then tuning with a Panch Mahabhut here, which is also with the Vedic concept, right? That's what
Yes.
the Veds are first. They're dealing with the Panch Mahabhut and the sonic codes of that. Then comes the music aspect of it, and that's how language was created, and the sounds coming one after the other, language having meaning, ka ka
Yes.
ga ga, like what do those sounds mean, and
Yes.
how do they relate to each other, and the same as the theory of sound is the theory of music, basically, exactly, you
Yes.
know, and the rhythm tal of how the weight should be, I think has been lost over time, but there used to
Yes.
be very, very clear that thing for each shlok
Yes.
or each that thing, how it has to be, what meter it has to go in, what
Yes.
lay, tal, and everything, which is the same thing which is in music, right?
Yes.
It's it's not different. So for me, like this synthesis
Yes.
of the Vedic things and the modern technical ability to create sounds,
Wow.
much more
No.
sounds than the acoustic instruments of the past,
Yes. Yeah, that's
was
what
a
we.
merger.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah,
like Vedangas is about
yeah,
Ucharan, about Vyakaran, about Chandas, about the right pronunciation, right generation of energy. Yeah, that's what I liked about Peter.
yes.
Even in the nakshatras, for all the nakshatra, you have also attached like a reference point to that matching sound as well. So,
Yes, uh, yes. So sound was well, like a very important thing for me,
yeah.
major thing. Okay, and uh, and then in sound, there are devices to reproduce sounds, produce sounds, and all kinds of things. And there's all kind of technology which was developed in the West over the last 100 years. So, but then you have to pick out the best of what was, because it's not all technology is good in that way. Like for example, now they have machine beats, okay, which are made on the computer, the beats, okay, which are
Yes.
not played by any human, but they are very exact. They're like the clock. Everything is right. But when a human being plays any rhythm,
Yes.
it doesn't come out
Yes.
exact. Okay.
Yes.
It is always, there is a variability in it. And then variability is same as the heart has variability. Heart rate is not like a machine. It's not like a clock. There is a variability in heart. And that variability actually gives human beings immune system and makes you human and not a machine. Okay. So like that kind of beats make humans less human, and which is not good for the humans as a whole. They'll lose their health, they'll lose their mind, they'll lose so many things. So sounds can have a lot of effect on humans, which humans don't understand as yet. That's not a research area. You know,
Yes.
there are a lot of things which are happening with technology, and a lot of ways the music is being made, which is harmful for humans.
Yes. That's the reason, Prashant, is like when it comes down to even my choice of bhajan, there are like certain sect of people like Bhim Sen Joshi ji, Ravi means there's one singer, Western singer like Krishna Das. He's majorly sings Hanuman Chalisa. Still remember at a time when I was going through a lot of depression, a lot of mental turmoil and
Mhm.
all, there was a time when I came across his voice. It's like on one day I said, okay, I want to listen to his music in the background on a repeat and I'll sleep with that sound. And later on, I
Mhm.
got to know in one of his documentary where he was saying that his sound and music is also used to give therapy to people going through depression and all these problems,
Yes.
rehabilitation related issue. So music is very rightly said by you. Music is very, very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, the sonic effects of different sounds on humans. I mean, they can have studies on it later, like technical studies. But the thing is that it is happening all the time, and the kind of music which is pervading, which is called mainstream music
Yeah.
right now, is not evolving humans. It's
Yes.
devolving humans.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
overall, so I had to produce an alternative soundscape, which was an evolving soundscape rather than a devolving soundscape. So that was the main thrust, and it all
That
ties to
you know.
nakshatras. I mean, if for nakshatra I can do a kind of play which will represent that nakshatra. Okay, for different nakshatras also. So people like just there are pictures, in my book which represent nakshatras. In the same way, you can have sound which
Yes.
represents.
Yes.
So people get
Prashant.
more. Yeah,
Yeah, because for
yeah,
me, it's like your image is of like that person, like a rock star holding a guitar back in 2013, 14, when I came across your pictures on Facebook. It's like, okay, there is some karmic connection. There is some connection with this persona in my life. So Prash,
yes,
now I
yes,
will I will ask you because okay, so it's an honor for me to have you here.
yes.
I will ask you certain questions because if you have like next available time, we can dig into nakshatra as well. These are the two things which somehow intrigues the astrology community the most, the astrology
Yes,
learners, enthusiasts the most. But today I will
yes,
first start with because we are also heading close to the lunar eclipse only. So the energy is more strong for Rahu Ketu point of view. So let's focus
yeah,
on certain few areas which always perplexes the budding astrologers, people who are just
yeah,
starting up their journey on astrology. And Rahu
right.
Ketu, see, when it comes down to Rahu Ketu, everyone has just one thing to say. Eighth house and Rahu Ketu, we cannot say anything. It's unpredictable. So now we have the master today who will help us decode the unpredictability. So, okay,
Yes.
first question I want to ask you, Brash, like, reason for getting what you have got Rahu Ketu exists in this life. So, all those people, so because we say that Rahu and Ketu tells about the karmic, not karmic alignment. So, why I have or anyone has got this specific Rahu Ketu exists in their life? What does it mean?
Okay. First thing is, let's understand. First thing is that axis has to be there. If you don't have any axis in your chart, you can't have a chart without an axis. Just like you can't have a human body without the spine,
Yes.
right? Like everything in the universe has axis. There's an axis for everything. Even the Brahman has an axis. Okay. Okay. So everything has an axis. First, number one. Okay. If the chart didn't have Rahu Ketu, it won't have axis. Okay. So that will be like axis-less chart, which means nothing, right? Basically, like there's nothing to. Now, the way, like the six axes which are possible, like in that way, Rahu will move 1 to 12, and you can say
Yes.
12 axes
Yes.
like that. But axis is only six actually. Ketu Rahu just changed positions.
Yes.
You know, if Rahu's in fourth, Ketu's in 10th, or Ketu's in fourth, Rahu's in 10th. Is
Yes.
the axis 4, 10th
Yes.
axis? Okay, so the thing is, those axes define like how a being's chart. Like you can basically uh, put that as you know, like Rahu as ascendant, Ketu as tail 7, and put the whole chart around it. Okay, then you'll get some idea of how the axis is that thing. making the person. Now, which houses they have it in, different people, is depends on what they are most comfortable with, basically. You know, so in this incarnation, on this lifetime, they have to use those houses as the access houses, and the rest has to revolve around that. So those two houses get importance, more importance than other houses immediately, because the axis is going through that. Okay. So the whole point here is with the axis is that first it has to be there, and where it is there gains importance. So just like the Samudra Manthan, everything will churn around that. So for that person's life, that where the axis is where everything will churn around, you know, will become the most important part of
And
any human being, like, so
Prash,
of their life. It is particular life and incarnation. Yeah.
and if you have to distinguish between how Rahu differs from Ketu, and I've also come across some people saying this thing that it's not like that you have both the nodes strong. Sometimes in certain people's life, either of these node becomes more powerful. So, like for example, I might be more Rahu driven, and someone else might be more Ketu driven. So, how to decode that?
Okay. That see, okay. The thing is, there are associations Rahu and Ketu have. Okay. So in someone's chart, Rahu might be associating with more grahas already. Okay. And Ketu with less. Okay. In some guys, that in Ketus will be associating with more grahas. Okay. So Rahu Ketu gain importance on the basis of how many grahas they associate with. Okay. Now, the whole point of Rahu Ketu axis is to balance both. Balance both means you have to give the same importance to Rahu and Ketu exactly in your life, no matter what their associations are in the chart. So then that way, your evolution and everything happens best, if equal. If you give more importance to Rahu and not enough to Ketu, or more to Ketu or not enough to Rahu, then there is an imbalance which is created, which mm, creates a problem in terms of evolution for a human being. Okay. So if there is a conscious process, including like meditation I teach, and everything to align, bring yourself to center and keep balance so that Rahu Ketu energies are also balanced. Okay. Balance is required. Any imbalance there might give you some success in the material world. Okay. But will cost you in the evolutionary terms. Okay. So that's even with Ketu, I'm saying Ketu can also give material success, going more towards that, you know. So not just Rahu, because Rahu people know that if you go more towards that, you will. But what I'm saying is, but from evolutionary perspective, it's not the balance has to be there of both energies.
Prash,
Yeah.
if like these days everyone wants to be, have a see whether as an entrepreneur, as a creator, you want a mass reach, or whether you have started a business, you want your business to reach more people, reach the nook and cranny of the world and all. So when it comes down to the mass reach, like there was a time when people used to say, okay, you want to be the world famous, sun has to strong. But now that role has been overtaken by nodes, specifically
Yes.
Rahu. And so,
Yes.
what do you have to say the role of Rahu and Ketu in giving mass reach?
Okay. The thing is, anything in the world where thing is getting bigger or mass or anything is 11th house. Okay. Any gain, any expansion, the most expansion is 11th house, right? Now, 11th house Karakattvas is like, you can consider it like the sign Aquarius. It's like Aquarius, right? Okay. Now, Aquarius has co-rulership of Saturn and Rahu, right? So, Rahu is automatically gotten involved with the 11th house. Okay. So, it is the thing which gives the expansion in the world. And Rahu is involved with that. So, that's why Rahu gives more of this expansion. Okay. And since this is the era of communication, electronic communication, This is like electronic communication, whatever. You, internet, YouTube, everything is electronic communication. Okay. Communication was Mercury before, right? Like the messenger, which had to physically go from city to city, town to town to give the
Yes,
news,
yes, yes, yes.
right? Which is not the case anymore. So with Mercury also, the Rahu element has been added. Okay. Which I added in Virgo, in my book, like Rahu, co-rulership of Virgo, you
Good.
know. So Mercury, messenger, communications. 11th house, games. So Rahu is sitting at both places. So
Yes.
that's why the social media,
Okay.
that thing, portfolio comes in its hand. Okay. Okay.
And Prash, like when we say that, like the question which I have written here is that how did they unfold karma suddenly and unexpectedly? So, like, is it the case that the planets, because Rahu and Ketu are like imaginary points, they are illusion, they are hidden. So they always are waiting for the right time. Like, okay, if you were to say that the timing of Rahu and Ketu and the unexpected element to it, what do you have to say over there? Like, why do they act so mysterious? How do you want to elaborate that?
Okay. It appears mysterious, but it's actually quite simple. The reality is that when churning happens, the results come along the axis only. Okay. But while churning is happening, you can't tell what the result would be. Different times, different things come, poison, amrit, all kinds of things, and whatever,
Yes.
you know. But you can't tell what is, but at the time of it, you can't tell. But through the axis, only you come to know what finally comes. It comes via the axis. Okay. So then they say, like, okay, it's coming to via Rahu Ketu. And Rahu Ketu are having much more involvement in a chart because they're dispositors, what planets which are aspecting them, everything they take. Okay. So they are connected to so many more houses than a normal graha
Wow.
person.
Wow. Yes.
So that creates complexity, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you are simple, like a ruler of one staying in one,
Yes.
simpler. Ruler of two staying in one, simpler.
Simple.
Here, this is nothing like that. Here, it's like uh, every graha they are associating with by aspect or position or their dispositor, they are giving the results of. So that is basically the whole chart. All houses are mixing. Okay.
Yes.
When people find it hard to even tell, okay, this house will mix with this, now what will be the result?
Yes. Yes.
Like 11th will mix with 12, what will be the result? Okay, like
Yes.
even that. Now here, everything is mixing with everything.
Wow. Yes.
So then the complexity is
Much
much, much more.
more.
That's where the problem, and then that's where the whole technicality starts with Rahu Ketu. And that's where they call it unexpected.
Suddenness.
Yeah, or
Surprise.
surprise because it's unexpected because you can't calculate that. You're not calculated that. Okay. Okay. Four houses are mixing. Now, which part of which house will give the result? With which house? What combination? When?
Yes.
Okay. It becomes much more of a um, calculation. Calculation. It's like more complex calculation.
Yeah, it's
It's like
Rahu and
going into
Ketu
higher maths, like from simple maths.
to calculus, core
Calculus
calculations.
to calculus, basically. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah.
And my next question to you, Prash, is like, what do you think is the right methodology to judge their strength? Like some people say that when it comes down to Rahu and Ketu, you have to see their dispositor. Some say that, okay, you have to see the Navamsha chart as well. So do you think that planets which are a nemesis for majority of the astrologers and astrology community, what as per you is the right methodology to judge their strength?
Okay. I mean, see, that's a very technical thing. I can't go fully into it, but I'll just give
Yeah,
you
no, please. Yes,
like a
yes,
this.
yes.
But I'll give you a little that thing hint. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like I mean, first dispositor is important. Yes, whatever they're saying, it's important. Okay. Then their dispositors have bal, the bal, like Shadvar
Yes.
bal of the
Yes.
dispositor. Okay.
Yes.
that will be important for the, like, because if the node is to go by that, okay, their Shadbal of the dispositor. That's good. But then there comes the Nakshatra Lord also, okay, of
Yes.
Rahu Ketu, okay, which will be very important, okay. And then the sub Lord of that Nakshatra
Yes.
also,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So the combination of those three
Okay.
and their Shadbals will
Sure.
define their birth in a broad context.
Right.
Okay. But there are other technicalities to it, which I can't go to all of it, but I'm
Yes.
just
Yes. Yes,
giving
Prash.
a,
Yes.
a,
And
a general overview of how to see their, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
because many people say that Navamsha is the chart of the dharma, and
yeah.
looking at a planet which is like very anti to that, anti to rules, which is Rahu. Looking at Rahu's placement in the D9 chart, does it actually helps or not?
Okay. Because Rahu is not anti to dharma. It's not like that. Rahu is more interested in actual knowledge of
It's very
things
right, very right. Yes,
rather than just belief.
yes,
Okay. There's a believing and there's an actual knowledge of things. Okay. So Rahu is concerned about the actual knowledge of things. So it's not against dharma, it wants the actual knowledge of dharma. Like right now, different religions can give different moral codes to their followers. Okay, this is the core code. This is you have to follow this, then you'll get to heaven.
mhm,
Okay, there different religions have this thing. You do this, and then you'll get to heaven. Then Rahul will analyze, but doing this, can you really actually get to heaven by doing this or not? Okay, exactly. So that analysis is there. So it can be called anti-religion in current way, but not anti-dharma.
yes,
Because knowing the actual functionings of the universe and the reality of the functionings of the universe, that knowledge, it is after. And
yes.
using that knowledge only, Ketu gives, grants liberation.
Liberation moksha. Yes,
Ketu is Moksha. How? How can Ketu become Moksha suddenly, out of nowhere? It won't happen out of nowhere, right? Like, it can only happen if Rahu has given the correct knowledge and information distillation to 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 practice. Okay, so that distillation and discernment.
yes,
Okay, so where there's a Shiv level of discernment, which is an Aquarius,
yes.
okay, or it's the Mercurial Virgo analysis sort of discernment. Do you know what I'm saying? Both Rahu's involved, right? Again, yeah. So it becomes the most important. I mean, it's
Wow.
like they say the difference between being religious and being spiritual, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So trying to find out the right aspect of ninth house, the dharma, and that thing. That is Rahu's job, actually. So that
That
so
too in
that's
today's modern day context. People
yeah,
say that it's the age of Aquarius we're living in. So very, very beautifully said by you, Prash.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Prash, when we talk about the like, see, in the mundane astrology events and all, so what do you
Yes.
think? What is the role in bringing mass calamities and destruction, like tsunamis and those events? Like I see everything is I have first hand knowledge from your work, your books only. Like those events, like an asteroid, comet striking the Earth, dinosaurs getting wiped up, twin tower attack, those kind of big events which can change the face of the humanity. So, which can change the world order. So, how much do you think Rahu and Ketu in today's like modern day context hold this power to do that?
Okay. The thing of that is that first, like a lot of these events, which they say history, they are not sure whether they actually happened or not. So we can't go that they actually happened, the dinosaur
Yes,
thing and stuff like this.
yes,
It's conjecture, it's theory. Okay. Now, the second thing is, so it's not like people can, but yes, the thing is that Earth also has an axis
yeah,
by itself. Earth like has its functionings and it has its axis. So it also has its own Rahu Ketu,
yes,
north node and south node of Earth.
yes,
Okay. Now, in that, like, if something is not functioning right on Earth and needs changing and needs that thing, so that impetus will come by Rahu Ketu only, the axis only. Okay. the calibration, like if Vishnu and Narayan do the calibration of Earth, recalibration, reset. Okay.
Yes.
So it'll come via the Rahu Ketu. So again, that's why in sort of mundane astrology, we'll see that through Rahu Ketu. Again, those kind of things. They have to be importantly involved in those events, So that's the reason, basically. Because everything spins around the axis in the end. So that's so if like overall things are going topsy-turvy, you have to set the axis again. If things start going like
Yes.
this, you have to that thing calibrate the axis again properly. And that's what creates natural disasters and all kinds of things on Earth. Like if human beings have gone in one direction, then your nature has to do the things in order to balance
Oh, wow, very nice.
things out. So that's
And
the
Rahu and Ketu becomes a medium, enforcer of that, enforcer
yeah,
of that.
yeah, info and like so then science. So when you see Rahu Ketu in the mundane Jyotish and their transits and stuff, then they become the sort of science for that. You have to look at that sign. Yeah. Yeah.
And Prash, there's one line written in one of your book which actually stayed with me. That it
Yeah.
was that Rahu is still open towards remedies, towards making peace with. But Ketu is a very difficult energy to deal with. Ketu is not easy to be negotiated with remedies and all of that. It is very difficult to be appeased.
Yeah.
Elaborate that, please.
Oh,
That
oh,
touched
oh,
me,
oh,
man.
oh, okay. The thing is because Ketu is actually depending on Rahu in a lot of ways. Like because I told you Rahu has to get to the right knowledge and the right system for Ketu to become Moksha you know. So, so like Ketu is going to act as per what Rahu has synthesized. Okay. Now, the when you have to make change, you have to make the change at the level of the understanding where the Graha, which is understanding and which is trying to make that synthesis, Rahu. Because once that synthesis is done, Ketu will just act upon it. So once to energy which will just act upon it, what change can you do then? How can you affect that? You don't have much room for affecting that. Okay, if you want to affect Ketu, go to the Rahu again, change its that things, and let the input be something different. So you have to go via Rahu to, you have to feed something different to the mouth and process something different to the head for the tail to act in that direction.
That's very beautifully explained.
Yes.
Okay, now my next question is that what do you think, PT? Where the world is headed with the ongoing war fronts? Because I recently was working on because on April 8th we have the Chaitra Shukra Pratipada, and even in the Bharti Vidya Bhavan, all the book and all the predictions, prophecies,
Yes.
with Mars being the king of the year, Saturn being the minister, Saturn soon entering into Purvabhadrapada Nakshatra. So, what do you think? What the world order, what we are heading, and because so many, yeah. So, I just want to know what do you think? Where the as per the
Well,
astral involvement, where we are heading?
the thing is, like I've been saying, like we have been in war situations in 2020 when Jupiter Saturn conjunctions happened, and I said like the world is in transformation already. So that was a war, but people didn't see it as war from 2021 when lockdowns happened and stuff. People did not see it as a war, but it was war. Okay. But it's just more modern war. It's not the war as people understand war. Okay. Now, more old style conflicts, which people can understand as war, like Russia, Ukraine, and Middle East and everything, have started happening now. Which is the second phase of this. And because of the Mars and Saturn energy in 2024, uh, if you have the chart of the new year, 8th April, it's like sixth and eighth house, sixth, seventh, eighth house, most of it as Ketu is in the ascendant. So there is a whole thing where, according to me, all of those will increase configurations. But since Ketu is an ascendant, you won't see anything that clearly as yet, which is, I said, behind the scenes. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on right now behind the scenes. A lot of war fronts are opening between different so-called countries. Okay, but they won't be seen as yet. Like some things you'll see, okay, Middle East, it's escalating. You'll see the escalation. You'll see that thing, the Russia, Ukraine carrying on and these things and stuff like that. But the actual big picture around the world will not be clear. It'll increase everywhere, at the diplomatic levels, at all those levels. Those signs will be there for people, but nothing upfront, for at least 1 year right now, 24 to 25. It's all increasing, but it's not visible. so, so that's the basic thing. It's more 8,000, you know, the whole thing, more Ketu, more, more hidden. So, yeah.
And Prash, you mentioned something about the motion
Yeah.
of the planet Jupiter as well. Like, when we were having a conversation, you want to like talk
Yeah.
about something about that as well? How with
Okay.
the
The
role
Jupiter,
Jupiter
yeah,
will
Jupiter
play?
going Atichari from 2025 onwards for eight
Okay.
years until 33.
Okay.
It'll be going through 12 signs in 8 years.
Wow. Okay.
Jupiter usually takes 12 years to go through 12 signs. Everyone, 1 year per sign.
Yes.
And when Jupiter goes so fast, it means for human beings that that divine safety net is less, because Jupiter is the divine safety net, right? Right. Now, when Jupiter's motion is so fast, that means the divine safety net is not going to be there that much. So, 2025 to 2033, more things can happen. Okay. You know, so Jupiter is also given its that thing, okay, green light, basically, to the uh, reset thing, what I call the reset. Things have to, like, before the human structures and systems have to collapse. The old system has to collapse before the new one is built. Okay. So the Jupiter also has given green light to that collapse from 2025 onwards. Okay. Okay. That's what the meaning of the Jupiter being Atichari, is as a whole. Because Jupiter's green light is also required, because without that, it's not
No,
going
for
to
me, Prash, is like I you see being an astrologer, omens and signs matters a lot to me. And it's like
Yeah.
coincidentally, we call it coincidence or divine omen that I always come in contact with you. I always see you only on Thursdays. You're like a divine
Yes.
guru embodiment for
Yes.
me, and I'm very much sure that the whole world in this situation of chaos and crisis, we will be needing
Yeah.
the right guidance, right mentorship to be led around these difficult times, and we actually need
Yeah.
like divine figure like you to take that that pedestal, be on that position where the your voice is reaching the masses, people are being led in the right direction. So,
Yeah.
Prash, and I want to conclude this session on this last note on this thing that the meditation, which you have been conducting workshops extensively all around the
Yeah.
globe, traveling around the
Yeah.
world. So, what do you
Around
want
the
to
world, not the globe, but the world. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you have to add? Like anything about the benefits of meditation, how
I
people's
mean,
lives are
yeah. I mean, it's
transforming, anything about that?
what I have to say about that is, like, it is necessary for every human being. It's as essential as eating,
Yes.
sleeping, and all other things that being sent to themselves. And because through human body, like, we have been given attention in this body right now. So we have to use the body wisely, and we have to use this body for as a tool for evolution. Okay. And the centering thing is how to use this tool properly, basically. So that is an important aspect of that, most important, because two things you can control only: attention and body. So, so once you control the body, then you can control the mind, and via that control the attention. Okay, so that is the most important thing, for a human being, basically, to pay like attention to the physical level. What are they doing? Because all actions are done with the body, because world has gone quite mental. Okay, people are thinking all the time, looking at their mobiles and thinking, right? All the time, right? Like it's very mental. And then the whole physical existence, what human being is supposed to do on earth, you know, what is sort of lost right now. Okay. So it has to come back to that, that grounding, connection with nature, connection with earth, like centering of the body, like organic farming, all these things will come together, for human beings to get back to an actual grounded state, you know, which is the like only way to like sort of like which we were talking about Ketu, you know. So Ketu depends on the grounding a whole lot.
Wow.
You know, yeah. You can't be ungrounded. But obviously Rahu has to feed the right information about grounding, how to ground and to be in the physical world and not be in the mental world and all of that. So that is the best remedy for Ketu also, like basically, you know.
Wow.
the-
That's what they
So
say. I remember it's like in my numerology class, someone was talking
yeah,
about, okay, in my Losho grade, if I have this number missing, it's like, no, if you have a number of the guru missing, the guru will appear. So that number has now your grade is complete. So I guess,
yeah,
you are actually playing a very, very important role, PT, and I couldn't be like meeting and talking to my role model, the guy I'm very much impressed and fascinated with. It's a
yes,
dream come true today. And yes,
yes,
Prash, after this, yeah, so most likely, if your time will allow, the next
yeah,
Zoom session we will do on Nakshatra, because
yeah,
now your book has set such a standard which is very difficult to meet, and something which will come right from your mouth, that about what led you towards that, any deeper intricacies, findings, some more
yes,
elaboration to that. So we'll be very honored. The next session
yes,
we can do on the
yes.
Nakshatra as well.
Okay, 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 Nitin.
Thanks a lot, Prashant. Thank
Nice to
you.
be
Thanks.
here. Nice to be on your platform.
Thanks.
Yes, yes, yes.